Hey everybody, I want to do a part 2 of our repair order example for you guys. In the first one we did the example of a simple can job or a menu price job, which was a lube oil and filter service. And on that one, as you recall, you went out and you found some prices at your local parts stores for oil filter. You looked up on your service information the capacity, the type of oil, and I had you go ahead and go through all the information squares on the RO. You estimated it for the customer, and that was $29,995. And of course, you added everything up and included your sales tax. For this one, it's not a can job or a menu price job as we discussed during class. This one's a little different, okay? So I want to walk you through how this one's going to work opposed to the other one, because in this one, well, we really do need a labor time, and that's going to factor into how much that customer is going to pay for this particular job. So, as usual, we'll always start with filling out the customer information first, so we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. And of course the date. And our phone. Okay. Time promised on this job. I'm going to go ahead and customer requested that the vehicle be picked up in the afternoon, so 5 p.m. And I'm going to ask them, of course, what type of vehicle that they're driving. And in this case, they're driving a 1993 Tempo. So we'll put that in there. Okay. They don't know the engine size, okay, and that's pretty much normal for a customer. They really don't get under the hood very much. That's it's going to be our job as technicians. They may or may not know the current mileage. Don't worry about that. We can get it when we get the vehicle in the shop and write that down. Okay. So what the customer wants, I asked them what their vehicle is in for service today, and they said that they would like to have the belt replaced. Okay, so and of course they would like a tire rotation as well. Okay. So there's two jobs right there that we're going to be performing on this vehicle. And of course, before we bring that vehicle in for service, we know well that the customer is going to want an estimate. So what we're going to have to do is estimate the customer on approximately what that's going to cost to replace the serpentine belt. And as usual, we're going to have to do a little bit of legwork. It's okay to have the customer wait, while we work this estimate up. That's no problem. So at this point, I'd go ahead and I'd give the repair order to the technician, let him pull the car in. Again, we're not doing any service to the car right yet. We're just going to give that customer an estimate. But in order to give them an accurate estimate, we're going to have to take a look at what it is we're up against. Okay? So the technician, that would be you. You bring the vehicle in, open the hood, and you're getting some of that information. Now you know the engine size. Okay? 2.3 liter. You would have recorded the VIN number, the odometer number, and we'll call this vehicle at 71,353 miles. And you would have gotten the license number as well at that point. And so now, you as the technician, you're going to go ahead, get on your service information, and look up some labor time. And having done that, you looked up the labor time. I'm going to change documents here for just a second. I'll slide this one in here. And you looked up the labor time, and you noticed that the labor time was 0.3 for your serpentine belt. Okay. And also you notice that the labor time was 0.3 also, okay, for your tire rotation. And usually a tire rotation is a can job, but just for this repair order example, I'm going to include it in looking up labor and pricing that into our shop rate. Okay, so here we go. All right. First thing we're going to do after our next step, rather than getting the after we're done getting the labor times, we're going to get a price on that serpentine belt, and I've had you do that before. And for this, I'm just going to make up a fictitious price. So we'll say that the belt, okay, cost. We'll say that the cost on the belt, it costs us $26. Okay, and we're going to sell it for a markup. We know that. So whatever that part store's list was on the belt, we can figure that in. But we're going to sell that belt, okay, for, let's say, 45 bucks. Okay, so this is list. All right, and of course, this is what the customer is going to see. We never want to show them that. All right. So now what we have to do is we're going to figure out the exact cost of this right here, our labor. Okay. So let's go ahead and draw up a little clock, just like you'd have hanging on the wall. And we'll put 12, 6, 3, and 9. Okay, and I'm doing this just so that you could better understand flat rate. Okay, and what we need to do is we need to break this clock down into 15-minute sections. All right, our shop labor rate, as I've told you before, is $80 an hour. Okay, and that's our shop rate. All right, so $80 an hour, and we're looking at our labor time. All right, we've got 3/10 for our serpentine belt replace and 3/10 to rotate the tires. Well, how much do we charge out of that $80? Okay, to figure that, okay, what we're going to do is I'm going to break this down for you into 4 equal sections. If we took $80 an hour and we were to divide that by 4, so let's go ahead and do that. We'll take $80, we'll divide it by 4, and that's going to give us $20. So every 15 minutes, okay, equals $20. So 15 minutes equals $20. Okay. All right. So that being said, if we said 20, 40, 60, 80, we've got our $80 an hour. Okay. So we need to kind of figure in and fill in the blanks here a little bit more. All right. So what we have is 1/10, okay, or rather 0.1 equals 5 minutes. Okay? So if we were to say, we have 0.3 to replace the serpentine belt, well, we know that that's 15 minutes. Okay? So right here, I'll go ahead and I'll put this in. Here is, we know that this is a 15-minute span of time. Pretty simple there. Okay? And of course, that's going to equal, your 15 minutes is going to equal 0.3. Right? So, with that said, we can go ahead and add in our dollar amount for the labor on this job. Okay? So if we have if 0.1 equals 5 minutes, we know we have 5, 10, 15 minutes within this fourth of our clock. We can say then that 0.3 is 15 minutes, and 15 minutes equals $20. Okay? So now what we'll do is I'm going to move back to my repair order, and I can write in an amount now of $20 for the labor. Okay? And to rotate the tires, well, that was 0.3 also, as you remember, so I can write in another $20 to rotate the tires. Okay? Then we got to move over to our parts area, and we know that we're doing quantity 1, belt, and we'll just write in engine belt. Okay? And of course we said that we were going to charge for that belt $45. Okay? I'll move this over here. Okay? and I'll slide this down, $45 to the bottom. Okay, and again, this repair order, it's going to be a more accurate estimate. This is the way that we have to do it. So now if I look over here, I have labor for my belt, labor for the tire rotation, and I'm going to drag that down right over here. So my labor total should be $40. Okay. And I'm going to bring my parts, $45 over. Okay. Nothing for grease, gasoline, or oil on this job. Nothing for outside repairs. Okay, so we're going to have our subtotal, which that should be in there. It should say subtotal, but it doesn't. It's going to be $85. Okay, so $85, and of course the tax. We could add that tax in at this point or choose to wait later. I usually wait later because, again, we're giving an estimate here, and I want you guys to understand that when we give an estimate, there is a little bit of wiggle room, okay? We can't see stuff like broken bolts or maybe something damaged in there, but at least we're giving that customer a ballpark figure as to what replacing the serpentine belt, rotating his tires with the part is going to cost them. This way they know what to expect to pay for this service. Okay, so we'll present this estimate to the customer, and we'll say $85, okay? And if they ask how long it's going to be, we already know a labor time. It's going to take approximately a half hour, but always leave yourself a little bit more time for things that are unforeseen. Maybe you have a very stuck bolt or something like that. So what I would do is I would tell the customer it's going to take us at least an hour, okay, to do this job. All right, you never know, something might come in the meantime. We don't want to forget to have the customer sign, and of course date, the repair order. Now you're okay, you're good to go. You can hand this to your technician, or if you're the technician doing the job, you can go ahead and order the parts and start working on your job. Okay, but that is how we go ahead and estimate a job when we're working with looking up labor times for a job that's not menu priced. I hope this helps.